So with us today is 14-time Grand Slam champion who first won a Grand Slam when he was 17 years old. Welcome to a special segment where you're going to have a tennis clinic with WION. Please welcome our viewers.
Thank you. Hello everyone.
Let's talk about your journey now. You started playing tennis at the age of 4. You were brought up in a tennis family as well. Was that your inclination to pick up tennis?
I saw the tennis and the rackets at home, so I wanted to do the same as my big brothers were doing, and that's how I started. And I have the passion for that game, and I started playing always against the wall when I was little, and just with the racket. It was bigger than me and heavier because we started playing with the wood rackets and old times, And but I like to play and I have fun and I enjoy it, playing and watching on TV as well, And you always have your idols watching, the big finals, and you were thinking one day that you want to be there, playing those big finals and big tournaments, and I started playing after the school a little bit, and I like it a lot. I started winning tournaments at a younger age, and then, at the age of 14, I turned professional, and at the age of 17, I won my first Roland Garros, the youngest player ever to win at the French Open, my favorite tournament. And then in 1994, 95, I became number one rank in the world, in singles and doubles the same year, when it's only a few players who did it in the same year. So it's a privilege to be, one of the best players in the world, doing what I was like to do, that was playing tennis, be so success, and also, be part of history and be one of the number ones ranked in the world for forever, in singles and doubles.
So was it very difficult for you to pick up a racket and go out and play? Like you said, you were practicing against the wall. So doing very difficult growing up in a country where Spain, where it is dominated by football.
Yes.
And there are very few women players who have done really well. So was it difficult for you to come up the ranks?
Yes, because in Spain the soccer was the main sport, and like here, the cricket. So it's always more priority, for the soccer than any other sport. But I'm very happy to be the first woman, female or male, to open the window and the way, and become the first woman to win the French Open, and open the tennis and put the tennis on the top, and be ranked number one in the world. And after that, we have many more fellows, like we have, Moya, we have Ferrero, or we have now Rafa Nadal. So I'm happy that they follow, my steps. But for my country, it was very difficult, yes, because as a woman, they were not supporting much, women's sports.
Was the federation supportive of your move? Did they come along and say, fine, you go on, you have our full backing, we'll give you funds, we'll give you money and all the facilities required?
Well, as I say, I left Spain when I was the age of 12 to train in Germany, where they have the camp from Germany, where Steffi Graf and Boris Becker and Michael Stich, Claudia Korekil, the best German players were practicing, because they gave me a scholarship to go to practice there. Because, as I say, I was not getting enough support at the beginning, and I left to go and train there, and helped me for 2 years to get, built and to get practicing. And then after, I do have some sponsors that help me, for my career, to be able to travel, and that they count about me, since the beginning, and I was be able to make my goal, that is competing, and to have that support, but because you need it, because it's a very expensive sport and it's not easy to do it. True. So you need that support, and I was lucky enough to have it for some companies that they really thought about me when I was, like a very young player, and then later on, when I come back being a champion, they were happy, even more happy, because they know how much the effort I did to become there. But I thank them because they always were there for the first time with me since my beginning of my career. You
came up in a tennis family. You have your brothers who played tennis along with you. So did they try and tell you can't play tennis? No, it's only a boys dominated sport. No, you can't do it. Did they try and pull your legs, or have a little fun around with you going out?
No, not at all. I just think that they were, they were happy that I was playing as well, and at the beginning, they're the ones that started to play, but at the end, the little one, the little sister, is the one who became the best player ever in the world. So they have to, to deal with that, and sure. They were happy, that I have a wonderful career. But no, they always, they always help me, because I just wanted to play with them. So I give them a little bit hard time, play with me, and at the end they play. But they saw that I have a wonderful career, and I become the best of the family.
So, looking back now on your career, are you happy and satisfied with all the titles that you have won, all the 4 Olympic medals that you won, or do you think there's a small regret of not probably winning on Wimbledon or something?
No, not at all, because I have to admit that when you were younger, I never thought that I was going to have a success career. I never expect to win as much as I did, and I don't regret. Sometimes you think, okay, I wish I have the plate of Wimbledon, but I'm very happy with my career, how it's been. I achieved everything I can, the best, and I have so much success, so I'm very happy and very proud, and I don't have any regrets at all.
Tell us something about Spain in particular when it comes to tennis or any other sports apart from football. How good is the future for that? Because we spoke to Caroline Marin, who's a badminton player from your country as well. She said it was difficult coming up because football is much more a popular sport there. So what is your take on other sports there?
Yes, no, it's always hard because that's the main priority, and then tennis, is the second one, but it takes a while until tennis was there too. So it is true that all the covers and everything were for soccer, and it's difficult for another sports to come in through. And I think now that it's opened up, that we don't only have to depend on soccer because other sports we're doing so good and we have so much success. And definitely, as you see the Olympics as well, this year there was many more medals from women than the men, so it's changing all that in our country and the perspective of the sport there, and now they're supporting more, the women's sports, and I think it's great because the more support you get, the better, and more champions you're going to be in the future, because this is ending really quickly. True. And now we have satisfactions and all the wins that we make, and it's nice to be part of that, but they have to look ahead afterwards to continue having that success, so you need to continue working, for the tennis base, for the other sports as well, to be able to have in the future more champions. But yeah, it is becoming a little bit difficult, tough situation because it's as here cricket still the soccer in Spain.
Do you think that the pressure that you had at the probably Barcelona Olympics where you won a silver was much more compared to your win when you had the first Grand Slam in your hand?
It is different because Grand Slam you play, every year, and you play yourself. It's an individual sport, Olympics you play for you, but you play for your country. And as a matter of fact, of winning a medal is a medal, for you, but for your country. So a lot of expectations for me. So I always have, since very, very little, a lot of pressure. So I always be able to deal with that. But it's not easy because it's not easy to get there, but it's much harder to maintain that, and to get better and to maintain that. So it's even more pressure. So it's even more difficult. And I think I was lucky enough to deal with that because I always have a lot of pressure, and they're expecting me to do, so well, even better every year. But just a matter of fact, as you say, just to get a medal, I have, two silver and 2 bronze. Is something that is always going to be forever. And for me, and for my country, and being the podium and the satisfaction for the people because they're expecting me to do well, and that's what I did. But yeah, it's even more pressure. Yeah.
So there was a time in your career when you were going down after you won the first French Open. Things were not going your way. But again, in '92, '93, you picked up your game, and then you went on to win the Roland Garros '94 and '95. So talk us through that phase. How difficult was it? What kept you motivated going on?
Definitely, the year was really good. The only thing is that rather than win a Grand Slam, I was losing the final. So the people, they unfortunately always remember when you win, but nobody remembers whoever gets into the final. That's the the runner-up. Sure. But it was very important because sometimes you learn from those situations. You have to be there, and I just continue working hard and thinking more positive to improve a couple of things and to come back stronger than ever. And that's what I did a few years after. Because if I would have followed what they were saying, that the rumors or the comments or the press what they were saying, it would have hurt me. But I put everything away. I just concentrate. I think I definitely work mentally harder to improve and to put my game better, and that's what I did at the end, and it pays off when I start winning again the French Open, the US Open, and the final Wimbledon and everything.
I read in papers somewhere it said that somebody had made a comment that you will not be able to win a single game against your opponent in the Roland Garros final, the first final that you played, but you went on to win that. So what was going through your mind at that point of time?
Well, no, I just made a comment because when I have a story and I tell always that when I first played my first final of the French Open, the day before of the final, the journalist, on the press conference, asked me how many games you think you're going to win tomorrow against Steffi Graf, because she was unbeatable, and the year before she killed the number 5 rank in the world, like in 35 minutes, 6 love. So coming to play at 70 years age, they think, okay, it's going to be as easy as maybe from last year. And I just look at the journalist and I say, well, we'll talk tomorrow after the match. So they were really surprised because normally, I would be upset or something. But I finished the press conference and everything. But the night before, I went back, home and I couldn't sleep. Not sleeping because of the nerves of the final to play Steffi Graf. The journalist question get into my mind: how many games you're gonna think you're gonna win, and then going tomorrow's match. So I slept really bad. But in the next morning when I went to the court and I warmed up, everything went away because I was already sweaty, prepared for the match, and I said, okay, this is it. I'm gonna play my best, and then I have nothing to lose. That will help me. So I went to the court and I just started playing. It was a very close match. I won the first set 7-6. I lost 6-3. Then I was losing 5-3. She served for the match, 5-4. I break her, and then after ending winning 7-5 after 3.5 hours match. So I was really happy and emotional. So I cried through the racket, roll into the red clay, like all dirty. I shake hands with Steffi, with umpire, until I didn't have the trophy in my hands. When I say, okay, the champion is Arantxa Sanchez, and I hold it up, I say, I did it. My dream come true to win the French Open, to beat the best player ever you can have, the best player, #1 rank in the world, Steffi Graf, the best final, and be my dream come true, that is having be a champion of the French Open and be the first Spanish woman, female, male to do it. So a lot of things come to me in my head, but it took me 3-4 days after to realize what really I did, until I know and I see what's going on around me, around my whole world, my country, and the expectations afterwards. But it was a very emotional day, and as I say, I was just a teenager, and a lot of dreams come true for me that day, and after that, even more of my whole career.
So what was Steffi Graf's first word after when you went and shook hands with her on the net?
Well, she shook hands, she went like this, she changed hands, she said congratulations, she gave me a hug, and then we just went separate ways and we shook hands with the umpires. She went to her chair, I went to my chair. I look at my whole box over there, and everybody was happy. I look upstairs and I say, thanks God, for helping me, and I was crying like a baby. I put the towel on and until I heard to go and get to the trophy. And I was crying like a baby of emotional moments and happiness and things, but you can tell I was, holding the trophy like this, like a little bit crying, but it was a very, very unique moment for me, yeah.
So would you rate your first Roland Garros win a little above than the Olympic silver or the bronze that you won, or does the Olympics still have?
It is different because, as I say, Olympics you play every 4 years, and you don't know if you're going to play another 4 years and if you're going to get commitment, for your country. The matter of fact to just be selected and be in the Olympic Village, play, being with the other athletes from your country is a privilege, and that's a unique experience because to live there and to get the support from other athletes from your country when normally you don't see each other that much, and you get to have a good friends, a good relation, and after keep it up, and follow each other, and you want them to do the best, and the same for you. It's a very special moment, so I don't change that for nothing. And at the same time, if you go to a podium, a medal is a medal. Doesn't matter. You're gonna have that. And that me, I have 4 medals, and my country always on the top. For me as well, when I see them at home, I still remember that. And I was lucky enough and privileged to play 5 Olympic Games, but not many people have the chance and represent my country the best. But I would never put one in front of the other because I think that the whole success of my career, I'll put it all in the packet, yeah, together.
Who were your best friends on court or off court as well? In the locker room, what was it like? Because you were 17 years old coming in the locker room.
I always have, friends, on the tour, but we were rivals. When we would play, we switch, we're kind of like, okay, we're rivals, it doesn't matter. But I always got along very well with Steffi Graf, with Monica Seles, with Mary Jo Fernandez, Mary Pierce, and Eva Maioli. Those were my, my Gabriela Sabatini, the friends that, I have when I was playing Martina Navratilova as well. And now I still have, like off the court, like, more we talk each other. So mostly Navratilova, Monica Seles, Mary Pierce. And those are the ones we still talking, see each other sometimes, and talking about other things, not tennis like we used to, but we still have a good relation, yeah.
Talking about right things, there are 2 rackets and there are ball there. So let's go on. I don't know how many of you had an opportunity to interview a former world #1 or a person who's won 14 Grand Slam titles, but I'm going to take this opportunity and play against her on a clay court, her favorite court. Let's see how it goes.
Go to the ball. That's a home run. That's not work for tennis. All right, getting there.
It looks too easy to stand outside the court and pass comments. It's really difficult when you get inside the court, when you have to face off against the former world #1. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.